cut out the stuff you know you need to cut out of your diet. Be as strict as you can. You're probably gonna bobble. Don't get upset at yourself. You're not perfect at something as soon as you first try it. In fact, you never are. So as soon as you think, I got it, I got the formula, this is as good as it gets. Well, what's the point of living anymore, if your point is to improve, which I kind of do, and that question is, how can I improve myself? It's like give up the things you know you need to, put in the things you know you need to. I'll be here for you to tell you some of the logistics and to help you. But like even with training, different people adapt to different training better or worse, and it depends on your specific goal. So from the diet standpoint, it starts really simple. Why don't you just make it simple for yourself? Go get some fatty meat, eat it. Now you don't have as much room for rice. Like eat it till you're full. And if you do that every time, like even when you're thinking, I want a pizza. Like it's not like Joey doesn't have these thoughts. I have those thoughts. I have such fond memories with pizza. Oh, so yummy, man. And that ice cream and put that chocolate sauce on top. And then I'd even pour some milk in there and stir it all up. And then I'd eat the whole thing. And then I'd be like, oh, there's still half a gallon left. Let's get another bowl. I have those thoughts, but they mean nothing to me.
Joey, could you tell us about your health journey and how did you discover carnivore?
Oh, my health journey. I guess our health starts when we're an infant. So it could be a long story. I grew up eating, I wouldn't even say a standard American diet. It was worse than that because I was such a picky child. Like, once I got old enough to cook my own food, all I would eat is tortillas with cheese on them and like sauce. And I made that every single day. And I say all I would eat, I just lied to you because I'd also eat cereal. I'd eat like honey bunches of oats, which is a super, I don't know if it's as common where you live, but I assume it's like a huge, huge brand name thing. And so I grew up eating this way, and I was super athletic, so I'd always play sports. And I just lived with constant inflammation and bad times in the bathroom, for lack of a better way to say that. Um, and I didn't think about it. I was just a kid. So I ate that way all the way up through high school and through gymnastics. I competed on an international level. And then once I quit gymnastics, because I was scared of success, really, I got depressed. I didn't have a direction in my life. And this became an eating disorder. I would throw up at least 4 times a day, just eating like, and I mean buckets of ice cream, 5 gallons of ice cream, run to a store, get a bunch of little Debbie like cookies, and then go to all the and I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to just eat and then commit suicide, but I was too scared that that was all there was going to be. That would be the end of my life. So one day, and this is after a year and a half of throwing up every day, developing health problems we can get into, but I prayed, and then the next day I started tracking my behaviors, and the first behavior on my mind was what I was eating. What am I putting into my body? Because I knew I was doing something wrong. I wasn't someone who was like eating healthy and deceived, healthy, what is projected as healthy, by whatever, the media, government, other people in your life. I knew I wasn't eating good. So I switched into a ketogenic diet, and I'd never heard anybody talk about it. I just looked it up and it came up. It was one of the first diets that came up. So I started tracking my macros. I got my carbs like as low as I could. It started with eating nuts. I used to eat leafy greens. But I got to the point where when I was working 3 jobs, it was just more feasible for me to only eat ground beef. And I was like, I'm fixated on fats and protein. So I don't need these carbs. There's a little bit of carbs even in meat. So I used to wrongly say I was zero carb, but I'm as close to zero carb as I can be. Like Today I just ate ground beef and I eat ground beef and ribeyes now. But for about a year and a half, all I ate was ground beef and it was cheap. So it wasn't like it was hitting my bank account hard. So that's my story into the way that I eat now, and it came from a very unhealthy place, and it didn't just come from hearing other people talk about it, which isn't a bad way to learn about this. That's a great way. I'm just explaining for me, this was a natural progression of um, my health, my spiritual health, my physical health. So
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Not many people, if they're in a dark place or they're feeling depressed, it's really hard to get out of it. So that's amazing you've managed to do that. Like how did you make that choice? Okay, from now on I'm gonna eat healthy, I'm gonna look after myself. How did you do that?
it's a good question. On a human level, I guess that's all I can speak from. But really, this was a spiritual thing for me. I don't take it as like I picked myself up by the bootstraps and just started marching in the right way, and I'm so strong, I'm never gonna make mistakes. I prayed, like I said, that was the turning point for me, and it was a sign of humility. It was a sign I don't like what I'm doing to myself. I mean, I hated myself. I was ashamed of myself. That's what led me into depression and my eating disorder. So coming out of it was not by just by my willpower, but as you write things down and you're intentional. Like I had this thought that if I really hate myself and I don't want to get better and I want to kill myself, if I really hate myself, why don't I do what I don't want to do? And I didn't want to get better. I didn't want to eat healthy and see what the most of my life could be. But then that humbling thought and just surrendering to the fact that, like, I don't know what's best for me led me into learning, learning more about what's good for me, I guess, and starting to intentionally do the best I could. It was a complete flip around, you know. It wasn't like in one day I'm this different person. In a sense, yes, because my mind was already there. Like I wasn't willing to go back to this dark hell that I lived in for a year and a half, because that was the worst time of my entire life. And now I've found this thing, being the diet, being the exercising, being the tracking what I'm doing, my behaviors in my life. I'm not willing to give that up because I know what it's like, the deepest corner of my mind, you know, the darkest, not just the deepest. I have some good deep thoughts too, but you know, it wasn't like, yeah, I'm strong. I'm, I'll never do anything wrong. I'm gonna empower myself. It was kind of the opposite. It was like, I don't like this guy. That's it. I'm done. I need to do something else.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think anyone who starts on a health or a fitness journey, they're kind of like, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to not get eat carbs. I'm going to hit the gym 5 days a week. And for most people, it's very difficult to sustain. I think you've got to work your way, as you said, becoming a better version of yourself. When you started just eating, you said ribeyes and just ground beef, how long did you start before you noticed a change?
Well, the ribeyes came later. I didn't start really eating steak till, I mean, I ate steak now and then, but not regularly because of the
Mhm.
price. So going from the ketogenic, like the difference in my health was immediate. The difference in my mindset. That doesn't mean it wasn't painful. Like I had chronic acid reflux, I had a fatty liver when I started, I had pressure sores, I had hemorrhoids, I had some things that made it difficult on my body, but my mind felt so much better. And like I said, I didn't come from a place of like trying to eat healthy into trying to eat even healthier. Like I was in a place of eating very badly, so like my body was in pain from that. And so switching to any diet might have felt good. I got lucky that, you know, you could call it luck. Maybe it wasn't luck. Maybe it was from that humility and that place of just accepting that I don't know what's right, that I found a truth in fat and in protein. And I didn't look back because it cured all these ailments I had, or at least it was a part of the process. I still had to move. I don't care how many ribeyes you eat a day. If you just sit there on the couch, you're not going to be that healthy, my friend.
Yeah,
I
that's a
hope
really
I
good.
didn't get lost and I kind of answered the question.
Yeah. And in terms of your mental health, when did you start to notice a difference eating a carnivore diet?
Oh, yep, that's what you were saying. So that was the ketogenic diet. Once I switched into carnivore, yeah, the things just got even better. It was like mentally you're clear in that before I couldn't focus on anything other than maybe like a YouTube video that's silly or a stupid like show. Not that those things are wrong, but just that that doesn't take much computing power. So like now I can study things and enjoy it. I'm starting to find passions. And that happens quickly too. I can't give you an exact time because you got to remember like I started eating like a carnivore diet 6 years ago. So it's kind of in the difference has made its mark on me. The exact timeline, like I was all in at the beginning. So the exact timeline of like, oh, 2 weeks in, I felt mental clarity or something. That hasn't really stuck with me. I have done some testing since then, like with working out and stuff, so I can see the difference of like when I'm eating carbohydrates and when I'm not in my body immediately. And the brain thing for me is more like being tired. So like maybe you can start on something and then you realize you don't have the focus because because of this. So that this is like so nice. And that happens different times for different people. I won't ever tell someone like, "Oh yeah, in 2 weeks you're gonna feel amazing." You're just gonna feel flat. It's like, "No, I don't know you. I don't know what's going on inside you. No one really does, but you can feel it." And eating well, and the more restrictive you are, so once I did go from the ketogenic to just the meat, yeah, everything enhances. And that happens, things happen quicker. Like I've taken out all the variables. If you want to add something back in, like go ahead, you can try. But same thing. I think a lot of people add something in and then they think immediately my body reacted to it. It's like, yeah, you haven't ate that for 3 months or however long. Like add it in for at least a week. Now you know, okay, yeah, like my body doesn't like that. Now I have pimples. Or, that's a minor detail, but not for some people. Some people have really bad psoriasis or really bad acne. Skin is your biggest organ. You can tell us a lot about your health. So it's not just superficial. Um, so I felt things immediately. That doesn't mean I was this much better immediately. I felt it getting better. And then, like, once you are up here, you feel like you're up here. You can see that you're up here. You can track that you're up here. Adding a little thing like maybe our mind wants more things, but then if I personally add it, I'm like, well, I feel more like down here now. I felt better here being super strict. And I'm not someone unhealthy and like genetically that I'm aware of, at least. I don't have any known allergies. So I think being more strict is better for almost everybody. If your mind can't handle it, like limiting your carbohydrates, that's gonna make a huge difference. But being as strict as you can be, and this is true in anything, you know, working as hard as you can at something, you're going to see better results, but not instant results. But the more effort you put in, the more instant, and, hopefully you can sustain that. That's why I'm erring on like not saying just don't just jump in because there is that humility. There's that I'm the tortoise. I'm not the hare. I'm not like just gonna jump in this thing full throttle. I'm working out. Me, I did. I, but my mind's super severe. Like having this, you can see how bad I was eating. Like I know I'm capable of doing that good too. That's my personality. But it would be way better for most people if you just go in with humility and that I want to do this for a long time because it's good for me. I don't just want to hammer this and then I don't got nothing left. It's like, don't do that to yourself, man. Enjoy the process.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good point. Like as you said, enjoy the process. Like I can think back to when I was in school. I was like, there's that one kiddie like can't focus, can't complete tasks, easily
Mm,
distracted. Like I was that kid, and this is before we didn't know what ADD and ADHD was. But now looking back, it's because of what I was eating. It wasn't because I had
mm.
anything wrong with me. It just I was putting the wrong fuel in the tank. That's how I think of it.
I can relate to that. Yeah, same thing. They would want to diagnose me with ADHD. I was that kid, you know. I would get sat on the ground if anyone's seen any of my content, it's like I'm always doing flips and stuff. This started when I was like 6 years old. I was flipping off the playground equipment. So the duties, which is what we call the regulators of our safety and fun, would sit me on the curb like all recess long because I was doing flips. Or like one time I kicked the ball onto the roof because we played kickball, and if you hit the wall, the like far end of the school, you'd get a home run. But I kicked the ball onto the roof, and the kids were like, "Climb up there and get it." So I did, and then I ended up in the principal's office, you know. But
Wow.
it was partially my diet, but there's also like I'm supposed to move. I'm a human. This is in my nature. Like, let me move for goodness sakes. I'll sit down and learn too, but we can learn while we're moving. You can learn more while you're moving. You know, go to school and get a degree and then go get a job and see what it's like. You're like, "Oh no, I don't know anything." Like I've got to learn. And a lot of teaching used to be more that, more apprenticeship type. And it's funny, we can't get rid of it. It's not like, "Oh, he read the textbook. He kind of knows how things are." It's like, no, each scenario is slightly different. So once you go into that position, that person's not ready. You have to go next to somebody who knows what they're doing and who's done it for a while. So I think the same thing should apply for children. You shouldn't just sit them in a classroom and read them a book and say, "What's wrong with your kid? He's not sitting down all day long." It's like, no, what's wrong with you? Why are you sitting down all day long?
Yeah, exactly. Like I think the hands-on approach, learning as you go, like that makes a lot more sense. Like I bludged my way through high school. I barely finished year, 11 and 12. And I
Mhm.
think having that perspective of, okay, now I've got to grow up, now I need to learn a skill and get a job. Like, I think some people respond better to being under pressure. I don't know about you, but I think for me,
Mm.
being under pressure, having that drive, that's really important.
100%, yeah. And you're absolutely right that the diet makes a huge difference. Like you can get moments of motivation, but you don't need motivation when you're thinking properly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Awesome.
if I'm fueling my body well, I want to be healthy on other ways. Like I want to go to the gym. I can't kind of just like sit there and watch a pointless YouTube video for 4 hours at night because I'm like, first off, I worked during the day. I was motivated or didn't even need the motivation. I did my tasks that I wrote out for the day. And then I kind of want to grow. Like I want to learn more stuff. Maybe I don't know everything, but sometimes when you don't fuel your brain right, it's like you'll have this motivation and then you'll be like, I'm tired. I want something silly so I can fall asleep. Like you most look forward to being asleep. That's kind of a sad way to be alive.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's like, 6 o'clock here, it gets dark. It's like, okay, I'm done. Like it's time to go to bed. Whereas the old the old version of me would be like, okay, I'm going to stay up late. I'm going to watch some movies. I'm going to eat some junk food. It's going to be great.
Hmm.
And then it's like you're exhausted the next day, and you're in this perpetual cycle of doing this to yourself. It's ridiculous.
And you look forward to like the bad habit more than any of the good ones. Like when I was a gymnast and I was like, I'm talented and I can do flips and cool, great. But I wasn't that really motivated in my goal. It was partially my talent. I mean, I did some work, obviously, to learn certain skills. But then more than like flipping around at the gym and going to school or being with my friends, I enjoyed that. But what I really enjoyed was on the way home, hitting Taco Bell and getting 12 tacos, and then once I get home, eating nachos and then two big bowls of ice cream and then falling asleep watching movies while doing that, eating sun chips. You know? It's like I just look forward to this pleasure that kills my brain and my body. Like I'm
Mm.
just shutting myself down, and it's really an addiction, but it's not hard. It's difficult to give up, but in reality and in the perspective of all things and how long it takes to develop a new habit, I know there's statistics on it, but I don't think people are that way. I don't think you can say one person developed a new habit in 12 days. Everyone can do that. No, these people come from different experiences. It's like maybe it's going to take you a little longer or even shorter to develop a new habit because you connected with that thing more at the beginning, or well, there's so many variables, but it is, I think it's so amazing we can go from such a drastic, unhealthy thing, and your body's willing to say, I've coped with your stupidity for this long, and I'll grant you the health that you want now that you've changed. Like, there's never a time it's too late. Why don't you just see? Like, I don't care how old you are. Like, that should be more motivation. Oh no, I've been eating bad my whole life. But it's like, it's too late. Can't reverse any of my problems. It's like, no, you can't because you don't want to. You maybe you can if you tried and you cared.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a really good point. You talk about age being a factor. Like I'm 37 now, but I feel being on carnivore, I've got so much more energy than when I was in my 20s, and my strength is going up naturally in the gym each week. Like I'm sleeping so much better. I've got more patience. I don't procrastinate. It's like I don't think age is like the passage of time. It's more like you've done this damage to yourself because of the food you're eating, and then now your body's starting to break down.
Yeah, yep, that totally happens. I mean, some people are born with health problems, okay? Like you're gonna tell me all your health problems are because of your age. Or like I can move how I can because of my age. I'll point you to things and people that show that's not true. And maybe you're gonna say, "Oh, that's just an anomaly. Like that's just one person." It's like, "Okay, I'm one person too." It's like my mother was dealt a bad hand genetically. Like she had rheumatoid arthritis since her late 20s, like diagnosed. Who knows? Maybe before that. And she has it bad. She when she first got it, like she couldn't walk. That's how painful it was. She couldn't sleep. She had to find one position she could sleep in. She never thought she could go on a carnivore diet. I didn't try to convince her really. She saw my life. She got into it more like hearing other people talk about it too, because she already liked Jordan Peterson. And so he started talking about his daughter, Michaela, and like his gum disease going away and just her arthritic condition where her joints are deteriorating like my mother's. And my mom was like, eventually she just tried and she's off all her medication. This is over 30 years of medication. Okay, some end of life medication. So she can sleep on her stomach again if she wants to. She can sleep on her side. When she's sitting doing her work, she owns a small cleaning company. She's not in pain there all day long. So it's not just young people. My mother's 60 years old. I don't know what point like people become old. It's like that's up to your user discretion. I don't know. Some people might say 90. Other people are like, I'm 30, Joey. You don't know anything about this. I'm like, I guess you're right. You're right. I'm not 30 yet. I'm not too far off. And once I'm 30, I don't think I'll know everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. So your mother's like put that arthritis into remission so she can sleep. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, and don't take it as she's completely healed. Like she still has this condition and she struggles like most people and all people really do with the diet. And like I'm more strict with my diet than she is with hers, and she knows the more strict she is, the better she is. She's even done dry fasting, which if you guys don't know, that's exactly what it sounds like. What it is what it is. It's fasting without drinking water, and you work your way up. You don't just like start fasting for days without water. But I think she got to like 3 days, and it helped with everything. She also has problems with her eyes, and that was starting to go away. So really, the more strict, and your body gets to reset, and it's getting rid of all those toxins, you know. There's not a limit to how strict you can get, really, like a little bit there is. But for people like her, it's often also you'll hear things at the beginning as you start this journey, especially from a lot of people, because they hear things, and it's true with any area of life. And it isn't, it's case by case. It isn't for everybody. Like I eat a lot of salt. My mom, salt doesn't help her. Salt makes her feel worse, so she doesn't eat much salt. I like salt because it tastes good. Like I might not even need salt either. And who knows, maybe it's in my future I find out like, oh, I feel even better without it. But like I said, case by case, how much water you drink. If you don't eat salt, you don't need as much water either. So that's an advantage right there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that was actually going to be a question I had for you. You mentioned fasting. Do you do any fasting yourself? Do you recommend doing that or?
Fasting is great, 100%. Right now, I don't do any fasting. Some people would consider it. I think intermittently fasting is just called eating like a human. Like, oh, I don't eat all the time, all hours of the day and night. I'm fasting. Like, I don't really consider that fasting, but I do stop eating usually before 3 p.m. and then I eat again around 5 a.m. So there's some hours if you consider that fasting. But no, I'm eating every day, and the reason is I'm trying to build muscle because I'm doing a bodybuilding show in July. That's the goal at least. A
Oh, cool.
really funny sport.
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories about people doing bodybuilding, like people fainting backstage and like people developing all sorts of issues. Like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. I don't know any carnivores that are into bodybuilding. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I assume there aren't that many, but you could probably say that with a lot of things. Like how many doctors do you know that are carnivores or whatever? I don't even know what you do for work. How many of what you do is carnivore?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like I work part time as a barista at my friend's
Awesome.
cafe, and I'm studying to be a personal trainer at the moment. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, how many baristas like you sit around all that food all day? Not very many of those people who
it's
are drawn to
terrible.
that
Like
lifestyle.
it's like all day I'm offered, oh Todd, would you like a pastry? Would you like some cheesecake? Would you like this? I'm like, no, just no, no, thank
People
you. Like,
won't understand. They'll even mock you, but you don't need
yeah,
anyone to understand when you have. And I know there's good people too. Most people won't probably mock you, and not seriously, in a joking manner. And if you can't take that, there's other problems with your personality. If you can't take a mocking joke, it's like, oh, your life must be miserable, man. Don't
yeah,
take yourself so damn seriously just because you eat meat. Ah,
yeah.
ah.
No, you definitely gotta have a sense of humor. I think being carnivore, it's like people think I'm crazy, but that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. I know I'm crazy, so it doesn't bother me, man. I'm crazy enough to be committed to what I want to do.
Exactly. And I guess that is pretty strange these days because everyone loves to stay up late and watch Netflix and it's like, eat bad food and they kind of have this mentality, oh, I can go on a diet on Monday. The diet starts on Monday and then you blow out
Hmm.
on the weekend. Like it's kind of funny, but it's a bit sad as well. Most people don't want to commit.
So sad. It's so sad. You don't. I mean, wither your life away. If you're living for pleasure, okay, that's your purpose. That's what you decided. That's not my, like, I want something deeper. I've I've kind of always had this. This part of like what drove me into depression is not I God, but my idea of God was wrong. It was, and how I can say it was wrong is because it led me to something very unhealthy. So just like I want a purpose. I want to know why I'm here. Like I want something to strive for. I'm not okay with just living for pleasure, for happiness. It's like that doesn't really fulfill me. I'm not happy at the end of the day. Just like carbohydrates don't fulfill you. It's like I ate so much, I'm gonna keep eating because I don't feel full. Try some fat, maybe.
Yeah, there's something about carbohydrates. Like it just kind of flips that switch. You can't feel full. You can't feel satiated. You just want to keep eating them. Whereas protein and fat, it's like have a big fatty steak or some ground beef. It's like I'm good. Like I couldn't possibly eat any more.
Yeah, and it's so funny because it freaking bloats you up too. So like I'm
Mm.
at the gym and this guy's like, I love your physique. Like, how are you shredded and blah blah blah. You still like have the size, and he's like eating like these bodybuilders and eating a bunch of rice and like sweet potatoes and stuff. And he's like, dude, I cannot get full. It's like I'm always like it's uncomfortable eating because I'm eating so much. So like your stomach's full, but you just want to keep eating, and then you're tired all day, and then it's like, okay, you want to live that way, that's fine. It's like I don't deny you can get bigger from eating carbohydrates. Absolutely. If your goal is to be the biggest bodybuilder you possibly can, and you talked about people fainting on stage and stuff, yeah, you're taking diuretics, you're taking PEDs, you're taking growth hormone, you're taking all this stuff. Like their goal is not their health. And
Mm.
don't misunderstand me. I have respect for this. Like I have respect for the anyone who takes their craft that far. But like if you're gonna influence the younger generation who maybe they don't know yet, like that's a problem. Like they should know the inverse effects of these things. Because like what happens when you're young and you start taking exogenous hormones and now your body can't produce its own. It's like, oh, that person's life is maybe, I mean, it's maybe lessened for like they can't do this thing. Maybe they'll never be able to have their own testosterone again. You just screwed them up for life. So be careful. Even us carnivores, be careful what we tell people that we don't understand, or at least say it like take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not all knowing.
Yeah, definitely. People need to do their own research, and it's like I understand bodybuilding. It's like a very very dedicated sport. Like I wouldn't do it for me personally, but for some
Mm.
people, that could be a rewarding, you know, sort of journey. You mentioned before, like someone like normally in bodybuilding they do like a bulking up phase and they're like eating a lot and then they do a cut as the show gets closer. I'm just curious with you being on Carnivore, how do you go about doing that? Obviously, you don't need to do a bulk and a cut as such.
Right. Yeah. And I'm new. This is my first going around. I've never done, I don't really bulk. Like I'm eating 3 meals a day. I eat just under 3 pounds of meat a day. For me, that's not too much. Like I could eat more than that. Um, but I want to eat enough to where I do feel like I'm at least maintaining, but really I want to be growing muscle, but I'm not getting fatter. I keep getting leaner. Like my leanness hasn't stopped. And you got to understand like it's also a lot to do with my lifestyle. Like your lean body mass has the biggest impact on your base metabolic rate. So that's part of it. But it's also like yesterday shooting a video, I did over 300 flips like in a
Wow.
row. So like I'm not kind of, I'm a crazy person. And like my lifestyle is part of why I look like I do. But my cutting, I am gonna cut like, uh, but it won't be so painful for me. Because what happens with the bodybuilders is you have all this glucose. you know, and all this water and all this inflammation. And your body's so used to having this. You're so used to this. Then they're spiking all the time. They're eating 8 meals a day, you know. And now your coach is like, eat 4 meals, maybe, and cut out just enough carbohydrates to where your body's teasing you about learning to metabolize fat, but then eat a little more carbs. So you're in this constant like you're on drug withdrawals because you are. So they have that, and then like the passing out and stuff, that's like I said, more has to do with drugs and depleting your body from essential things. Um, I don't think I'll go through that. We'll see. We'll see if Joey Rooth dies on stage at his first bodybuilding competition because he didn't eat a donut before going on stage. And I'm not kidding, that's what your coach tells you to do, to
Mm.
make your muscles look more full. Yeah, eat a Snickers bar. You're a statue of health and fitness. So
Yeah,
crazy.
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
fun.
in terms of that cutting phase, would you have to also like do you need to increase your daily steps, or are you already like so active that you don't need to do that?
Yeah, I won't need to do that. I'm super active, but yeah, if I saw I want to be even more lean, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Like I said, I keep getting more lean right now, and I'm eating a lot. Like I'm going to start eating less. We'll see. My idea is that, instead of two ribeyes for dinner, I'll eat one. And instead of almost a pound of ground beef for breakfast, I'll eat, half a pound, maybe 3/4 of a pound. And that's quickly, like that's a lot less, really quick.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna start that like 4 months out, maybe 3 or 4 months out from my show, because then I can really dial it in and be like, okay, I'm not eating enough or I'm eating too much. For that, this isn't, I'm not trying to get more healthy doing this. Like I'm trying to look good for a stage and for judges and for what they critique on. I'm not saying it's healthy to have no body fat. I'm gonna be pretty like scary looking, probably.
yeah. I'm curious to see how you do. Like, I think doing a carnivore will be a lot healthier than doing like, the standard kind of bodybuilding diet. And like, I have done that. Like, I've done the broccoli, chicken, rice, egg whites diet. Like, it's pretty depressing. I don't know how people can sustain that.
I've done it too. Yeah. We get comfortable within our own stupidity. Like abusive relationships too, right? People on the streets, try to get them off the streets. A lot of times, this is how I live. So, and I don't think what I'm going to be doing will be necessarily unhealthy. I'm just telling you the reason I'm doing it isn't health. Like fasting is good for you. I just want to say that. So eating less for me isn't going to be bad for me. So, I mean, the bulking and cutting, not healthy. But eating
Yeah.
less, you could take it as Joey's fasting. But I take fasting as like a spiritual experience too. Joey's not fasting. Joey's about to get on stage in a bikini and be like, yeah, look at me, judges. And God's gonna be looking down and being like, I'd be like, but I did it with just me. And God got me to this place so that he'll be like, yeah, okay, you get a pass. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm curious to see how you do it. I'll be watching your Instagram for the progress. If someone came to you and they said, Joey, I need to lose weight. I want to try carnivore. How would you recommend they go about doing that?
By doing it, that means cut out the stuff you know you need to cut out of your diet. Be as strict as you can. You're probably gonna bobble. Don't get upset at yourself. You're not perfect at something as soon as you first try it. In fact, you never are. So as soon as you think, I got it, I got the formula, this is as good as it gets. well, what's the point of living anymore, if your point is to improve, which I kind of do, and that question is, how can I improve myself? It's like give up the things you know you need to, put in the things you know you need to. I'll be here for you to tell you some of the logistics and to help you. But like even with training, different people adapt to different training better or worse, and it depends on your specific goal. So, from the diet standpoint, it starts really simple. Why don't you just make it simple for yourself? Go get some fatty meat, eat it. Now you don't have as much room for rice. Like eat it till you're full. And if you do that every time, like even when you're thinking, I want a pizza. Like it's not like Joey doesn't have these thoughts. I have those thoughts. There's such fond memories with pizza. Oh, so yummy, man. And that ice cream and put the chocolate sauce on top, and then I'd even pour some milk in there and stir it all up, and then I'd eat the whole thing, and then I'd be like, oh, there's still half a gallon left. Let's get another bowl. I have those thoughts, but they mean nothing to me because I have goals. So set some goals, and then more important than the goals are the behaviors that you actually track daily. Because my goal that I can set, I don't know the future. I don't even know what's going on right now. Like, I'm trying to perceive it. So, do things you can actually do. And then maybe you're going to see my goal was little. Like, I'm somewhere I didn't think was possible. That didn't make sense. I didn't expect to be in Hawaii right now. I've never had that goal. I didn't think I'd only be eating meat. I definitely didn't think I'd be shaving my legs in the shower. Start tracking your behavior.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Joey, what's the best way for people to get in contact with you? What social media are you on?
I pretty much use Instagram. That's all I use right now. I think I'll evolve eventually or expand into different platforms. Um, Instagram, I post 3 videos a day and around the same time each day. And some things are about carnivore and some things it's all about health or just what I'm thinking, my lifestyle, um, heavily surrounding how I eat because that's a big part of my lifestyle. So
Awesome.
JoeyForm.
Cool. Yeah, I'll leave a link to your social media in the description. And we've already talked about this, but like, I'm not perfect. I've had bad days, but I feel
Mhm.
like where you have those kind of bad days, you're thinking, oh, I want to go off plan. I want to have some cheap foods, but like, I feel like I can go onto your page and I feel inspired. I feel like I want to keep going. I want to be consistent, like Joey.
Thanks, brother. That's super encouraging. Yeah, that's encouraging for me. Like I want to stay in it for you guys too. This, like I said, when I first found this, like I hated myself. I defined motivation for other people, and myself came later. And that was just my process. But I started a while ago and I went to Israel. Um, Maybe it was almost 3 years ago now, and I ate some carbs there. So I had a period of my life where I was eating carbs again. I was always eating high fat, high meat, um, but I had some carbs again, and that stuck around for a bit of time. So just because you go off something doesn't mean you can't come back because you know it was good for you. So don't be discouraged when you get off track. You know, that's like what matters is what you're doing now. That's all. I don't care if you're 800 pounds or if, your liver's failing. What you're doing now is what matters.
Definitely. Yeah, that's awesome. And you also mentioned you've gone through this like huge growth, this huge transformation, and you're a personal trainer as well now.
Yeah, I'm a personal trainer. I have my nutritionist certification. They're right when they tell you it doesn't mean very much. It's the same as anything, though. I mean, neither does my personal training. Like, I can choose to apply what I've learned and learn more, or I can just take it for granted. So, yeah, but I feel very blessed. I work at a gym here in Maui. It's called Maui Powerhouse, and it's a pretty awesome gym. It's kind of they've got lots of equipment all over the place and closely like it's close packed because it's a facility that clearly used to be restaurants or little shops and stuff, and they own a few of them. So, but they try and make it look cool inside, and it's got a good vibe, good people to talk to, and most important of all, like a place for you to be able to be disciplined. And for me, it's for my mind, just like the food is. Well, everything you should do, maybe try and involve your mind. It's not a bad practice, but I feel very blessed being able to teach other people, and just impart what I've learned and learn about them and learn from them too. That's important. So the personal training thing's fun. I'm excited you're on that path too. I bet you'll love it. You already love talking to people like this, so it's right up your alley.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, really to knuckle down. And then, yeah, I'm looking forward to, as you said, helping people and sharing the knowledge and helping them, on their health journey.
It's part of our responsibility, right? If you know
Exactly.
something, or at least believe you know something, you should try and share it with people you love and maybe
Yeah,
everybody else, because even those people you hate, they might become better. You might start to like them a little more. So,
definitely. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Joe. I really appreciate it.
thanks, Todd. It was awesome being here. Awesome talking to you, connecting with a brother.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, you too.
Cool. Yep. See you guys. Aloha.